press record.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Case Management 2. And this is week 1 of Case Management 2. We'll be looking at the legal aspects of child protection in this course. We're here with Ali. Welcome, Ali.
Hi, how are you?
And we're going to show you the course. We'll start with the course here. Case Management 1. Here we are. So we're going to open the book. This is quite a nice, easy. This is our overview. This is a meeting. Geez, that's a terrible. I look like I've got a big red nose there.
Yeah, cool.
So I don't know. You've not seen the books before, Ali. I was working on these last semester while we were teaching, and here we are. We've arrived at a way of going through the learning with the students, getting away from the PowerPoints. So it's a little more intuitive.
Yeah, okay. I've gone through it and it's yeah, it was a little different, but I just thought it was part of the course, so that's good to know.
It is, yeah. There's no PowerPoints now. There's just these. These are for the blended delivery courses, which is our online. So there's videos, and this week we're looking at the legal aspects. There's some readings to get through. We're thinking about the risks associated with case management. We're looking especially about the framework, what does actually constitute child protection need around Australia, because all of the states have different laws. The framework is the same, pretty much the same. The language is slightly different, and I believe somebody with a good lawyer might make something out of that in terms of what that means. But while we're on this, let's go through these. We're looking at case management child protection procedures. We will go through this throughout the course. Week 1 it's a bit not very well designed. Don't say that on video. It's okay. I didn't design it, but I was forced to write it. But and I'm meant to kind of like amend it as we go. But I didn't know where to go with this, so I just kind of chucked it all in there. It's a bit big. Mostly it should be focused on laws. I'm not really clear why we're talking about case planning as well, because we do that throughout the rest of the course. So I want to get away from some of this to some extent, other than to say the law and case planning does involve the involvement of the family court. There is a huge amount of relevance to what is legal and what isn't legal. And we're looking at different communities and how they're involved with, in a legal sense, involved with child protection issues. And in a practical sense, we'll be learning about some of the legal processes that occur when we have problems with child protection in case management. So that's why but we're not going to introduce all of case management, because the rest of the course does that. And this week, we've got half an hour to think about the law. And this is okay, because I think that's a proportional amount for this course. Ali, where are you from?
Blue Mountains, just outside Sydney.
Okay, so you're funny. It's interesting. I asked that because from a legal sense, we're going to be looking at mandatory reporting.
Yep.
And the mandatory reporting practice format that we use goes through New South Wales. So this will be relevant for you. But for other people who are on the course who aren't in New South Wales, I'm located in Victoria. Other people around Australia will have to consider different mandatory reporting procedures. They're pretty much the same kind of thing, but they'll have different names. And the first assessment will be a requirement to practice and demonstrate an understanding of how to complete mandatory reporting and what that involves.
Yeah, sweet. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why mandatory reporting is very important. There's a couple of videos. You'll get your handle around it by the end of this course. Mandatory reporting is exceptionally important. And we're going to talk about the laws around mandatory reporting in this. So within 20 minutes, hopefully you'll have a good understanding of what that will entail.
Okay.
Now, here are these are the listings of the laws, and these are actually going to be required for you in some assessments a little bit down the track. All the assessments that we do, and we could have a peek at them actually. If I just go, if I go to there, let's go through the assessments while we're here, so we know what we're looking at. This is going to be the subject to information. It's going to be the core of the course. So we need to, so we've got a mandatory reporting report during week 6. We've got an intake form and a case management plan during week 8. We've got a practical assessment of an interagency meeting. That's a on-campus. People need to go on campus in there with their real bodies, take into a real place and do a real learning thing.
Is that that's an extension of what we did in case management 1, isn't it? Because we did the similar interagency.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try and make this a little clearer this time around. It was a bit sloppy last semester, so I've tidied this up a little bit because people came away going, "I'm not really sure what I was doing in there."
Oh, okay. I thought it was pretty straightforward, but yeah, okay.
Well, yeah, maybe you might do, you might not.
Yeah.
I don't think that is 100% clear for a lot of people on the course. So one of the things we're going to be focusing on, and we'll explain this a little bit, is so we've got the week 9 interagency on-campus meeting where you go to a workshop and you participate as both a client and you participate in a role.
Okay, yep.
And you take a number of different roles. But the thing is, we're not training people to do lots of different roles. This is where the confusion comes in. So what we're going to do before then is we're going to provide some information to help you to scaffold your introduction to that meeting. And then finally, there's some brief responses where you have to talk about your experiences in the case conference workshop as the client and as a caseworker. So that'll be all of our assessments, and apart from week 1, mandatory reporting, which is we have 2 case studies in week 1. And we will go through those case studies in week 6 online in the Zoom class. So I recommend everybody attends because we'll pick apart those case studies and then we'll go through mandatory reporting and we'll have a good idea what everybody needs to write when it comes to the assessment, because it's quite curly. You've got, from memory, a young lady who was about 15. She's claims to be homeless and attends a community centre in the morning, claiming that she was raped in a park the night before. And you have to then, as a worker, make a report and react, and you answer some questions in the assessment. So some of those questions about what do you need to do first, who do you contact first, what would be your response, what is the response to mandatory reporting. But you actually have to go online and practice mandatory reporting online. And you have to report this client, which is in a practice session. The facilities are set up by New South Wales for people to have experience. And that's not clear as well. There's a little bit of curliness on that because, you know, they say something, they ask you, has the child reported to you they have been raped, or not reported to you they have been raped, but you have a strong suspicion. And the thing is, you say no to that answer, and then it says you are not aware there's any sexual contact. Which you kind of go, that doesn't make sense, because that so some of it is a problem with that mandatory reporting process. But let's go back to our online course. Actually, I beg your pardon, we need to stay here while I talk about this, because here's what we're going to do with this course, and telling everybody about the subject assessments. All these assessments from part 2 and B, 2A, 2B, and part 3A and part 3B are all about one client. one young lady called Lily Chen and her 2 children. And what we're going to do in this course is each week in the Zoom sessions, we're going to run into Lily and we're going to write a little case note for Lily about what happened. So that when you come to the assessments, you will have a good idea about certainly the intake form. By the time we get to the intake form, you'll know how to do the assessment. And when it comes to the case management plan, you'll have got some realistic understanding of running into a client over a period of time. So you have an idea what we're going to put in the case management. What have we seen as we've gone through our weekly meetings with the client, which is more realistic than has happened in the past.
So sorry to interrupt. Do we do that on our own little diary or actually on the portal?
I do that for you.
Oh, okay, great.
We'll do that together. We'll discuss we'll catch up with Lily and her family once a week, and we'll have a chat about what's happened with Lily and her family. What does that mean for us? What are we seeing when we see what's happened? You know, we turn up to Lily's house and she's had a fight with her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's punched her in the head. And so, what are we seeing there? And what are our concerns? What are the risks? And we start making notes. We keep an open assessment going, and we keep thinking about where we go with this case plan, because ultimately the case plan needs to be formed, and it's going to help us. It's like every case plan will be different because they're for different people, and it's a bit like knowing who the person is more and more to make a better case plan that's more suitable and is supporting clients with their needs and based on their abilities and circumstances as well, because people need things, but they're more or less capable of taking them on, or some people they're not. You know, when he's punched in the head by a boyfriend, is she going to break up with her boyfriend? I doubt it. She'll probably go back to him because it's very common. So even though Lily needs to be not with her boyfriend, she'll be with her boyfriend. So how do we work around that? And as child protection workers, we're going to confront some of these dilemmas. And by the time we get to week 9 and 10, and I'm not really clear when you're going to have your practical. When you go to the meeting, you will have enough background from all the other workers who have become involved in the case to be able to say and play each of the roles if you come online. If you don't, you're probably not going to go as well there. But those people who do, and then we're going to have a reason for the meeting, interagency case conference. We need to come out of that case conference with something. Should be recommendations, closing the case, keeping the case open, referrals, something like that. What are we going to do? We don't just support people for life. We support people for a limited support period.
Move them on.
Move them on. Sort them out, move them on. That becomes our motto. And then how are we going to do that? And what are the risks associated with that? And how are we going to mitigate? And how are we going to support our clients in the face of various risks? So there's that. So that's our assessment, and the assessment is going to run. Working on the assessment will run throughout the Zoom sessions on the course. We're only doing half an hour. We've already done 20 minutes. We're going to be out of here in a minute.
Fast.
It goes unbelievably fast. So we've got the legislation here. It depends on where you're from. You will write about where you're from, so that'll be fine.
So is it a federal law, but then you have states mandatory?
Yeah, states have different laws, and you see each state has these different laws. There are federal laws that protect children, but they tend to be legislated by states in terms of the wording and the. So one of the things we want to learn about today, in our final ending of today's video, is here's the key guiding principles of the legislation. You know, the best interest principle. So early intervention. Now, early intervention and prevention are seen to be now the most important procedures, the operating principles for working where we feel children are at risk. And when we say at risk, At risk of what? Because we're going to identify what that risk is in a minute, but we're operating under the best interest principle. So somebody might not be living at home in perfect circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So if we have a client whose family, perhaps they have a family member who's a mental health issue or a substance abuse addiction, they might not be the best parent, but they might actually be a better parent than a child going into a foster care system, for example.
In the system, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that might be an example of where we really want to keep the child at home.
Yeah, the best scenario. Okay.
Yeah, and we want to think about supporting the family.
Yeah.
And we want to, if we do that well enough and we upskill parenting, we can maybe find a way forward which doesn't involve huge intervention, you know.
Yep.
But early intervention to get there early and to go, look, you're not alone in this. Parents have a tough time. Parents with complex needs have a tough time. Poverty, lack of work, mental health, substance abuse, you know, all sorts of cultural and linguistic issues, gender lifestyles, etc. All these things can become very overwhelming for people, and the victims become the children. And we are there to try and refocus parents and go, you know, keep them in touch with support agencies and get them linked in early so that, one, we keep the family monitored, and two, we are linking the families in so that they're upskilling and they're learning to value strong parenting skills.
Yep.
And in order to do this, to keep people engaged, we ensure they are participating in the community development principles of you're engaged in making decisions with us. We're not going to be making decisions for you. That especially
empowerment.
Sorry?
Yeah. I just said empowerment. So, you know, you give them the power to choose their decisions. Yeah.
Exactly that. That's right, Ali. Empowerment to, I wasn't going to use that word, but that is the right word to use. Good one. And so, especially in light of things like the stolen generation, where they get to make decisions. We don't enforce the law on them and go, you've done wrong, we're taking your kids. Because that becomes a vicious circle of hell.
Generations. Yeah, exactly.
Intergenerational abuse. Ultimately, it becomes a structural abuse of children in a way. So here they are. Here's the definitions of child protection need. Maltreatment. So non-accidental treatment towards another person outside. So this could be this is quite an open. These are the definitions that are federal, that are legislated by states.
Okay.
These are the definitions. Maltreatment. Let me shrink this out of the way so we can read this for people, because this is going to be important. Refers to non-accidental behavior towards another person which is outside the norms of conduct and entails substantial risk caused by physical, emotional harm. Behaviors may be intentional or unintentional and include the acts of omission and commission. So not doing something for a child. If a child is cold, not keeping them warm, for example. Specifically, abuse refers to the act of commission, and neglect the act of omission. And neglect is increasingly seen as neglectful behavior is listed a little bit further down as well. Note that in practice, the terms child abuse and child neglect are used more frequently than the term child maltreatment. So physically abusive behavior, being physically abusive, sexually abusive, engaged in any sexual abusive activities. Now, that includes things like taking pictures, as well as voyeurism, masturbation, exhibitionism, exposing yourself, a whole range of sexual activities that may not involve the child being aware of it as well. But that doesn't mean that they're not being sexually abused. So that's important to know. Neglectful behavior where the primary caregivers are not taking care of their family. That could be food.
Yeah.
That could be emotional support. Not nurturing the child to believe that they are valuable and they're worthwhile people. So think about that. And this moves us on to the psychologically abusive, neglectful behavior. and then exposure to family violence, the witnessing of family violence. Now, this is one that is often overlooked. Mum and dad punching on, not a problem. That's not me involved.
Mm.
So this is where we have a problem as well. So these are the terms, and the state legislation are in ways now. Variously, the legislation will say that the definitions of child protection are about people being aware and have knowledge of abuse occurring, any of these definitions of need, and are therefore obliged to report that as mandatory reporting. Or if you have a strong suspicion, if you see bruising on the arm of a child, if you're a school teacher and you continually see bruising on a child in your care, you have a responsibility to report that to the right agency. So it is the strong belief, and it doesn't matter if you're wrong. This is the other thing. So there's three bits: the actual, and there's a historical aspect to that as well. That you know it's happened in the past, you're concerned it might happen in the future, or you'll know it's happening now. And you don't necessarily have to have proof of any of it to make a report. You just have to have a strong belief that that is occurring.
Yeah.
So,
and I guess it's different, like you know, especially my son being 2 and he's always getting bruises. This is more if you see like repeated bruises on certain parts of the body, and that you feel that that there might be a neglect or abuse happening within the child. Yeah.
well, we're going to be looking next week, Ali. We're going to be looking at childhood development, and I'll be encouraging people to have a look at childhood development and consider how bad parenting can lead to certain behaviours being apparent. So people, and this might not be apparent, being a parent and maybe not being a parent. It's not clear because children hide evidence of abuse and feel shame,
fear in that.
fear, and so there's all sorts of problems with this. But we will be indicating that next week and looking at that childhood development stuff, because there are things. Children fall down on a regular basis because that's their job, and they get bruises, and who didn't? I was thinking last night, scabs on the knees, that's a childhood thing, isn't it? Well, but not in terms of this, just going, when I was a kid, I was always had scabs on my knees. I haven't had scabs on my knees for many, many years. And I thought, that's a weird thing, isn't it? Scabs on them. But kids, they've always got scabs on their knees. So
yeah, that's right, exactly.
There's the normal wear and tear, and then the out of warranty.
That's right. Yeah.
That is the stuff we're kind of talking about. And I don't mean to be too flippant, but this is a very dark topic. And I'm not going to be flippant about it. I'm not going to be abusive, but occasionally there will be a little bit of trying to lighten the mood, because it can be a very somber thing.
Yeah, for sure.
It is. So we're going to look at a raft of different measures for addressing problems, and levels of child protection services that are that we can intervene with. So we start with the at the bottom here: primary, tertiary, universal programs targeting the entire population. Identifying, this is what we're doing in a way here: education, identification, online. You might, on TV adverts. If you know something, tell somebody. Secondly, where it goes through education programs, for example, families, schools, care providers, doctors, nurses, those sorts of things, care workers and child protection workers, where we deal there, and tertiary, where we go for a far more serious deal with actually taking a serious approach and removing children from risk, because that's what we're doing. We're not taking them because it's a good thing to do. We're removing them from risk. So that becomes our primary thing: identifying risk. And risk is the biggest issue here, right? Now, at-risk concerns, and then here we go: culturally specific responses to Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander people. And we see where in Australia we've had a terrible history of dealing with this problem and
Mhm.
working with our Indigenous population, the First
Mhm.
Nation, and we need to
Mhm.
be better in terms of the way we handle that. But still now, you will
Mhm.
find people saying, and I saw it on Q&A, their young
Yeah.
people are taken away from them in droves
Mm.
because what is considered at risk for different people are different. And we
Yeah.
shall, I'm not going to make any judgment on that. I'm saying this is not an issue that is resolved here.
It's still happening. Yeah.
Still happening. And really, I don't know if you saw Q&A this week, but
No.
it was fascinating. It was first people's coming together and going, yeah, we're not happy. And they're getting together and they're going to form a strategic response to this where they're going to
Mm.
require some rights, some basic rights
Yeah.
that have been taken away from them. You look at other Indigenous
Yeah.
communities around the world, they're far better resourced than
Mm.
Australian Aboriginals with
Mm.
a, yeah, in some cases, better history. And then there's some links to help
Yep.
with some extra resources. That's this week. There's a discussion
Okay.
forum too.
Yep.
And I am a little bit concerned that I put a discussion forum link in here and it's gone. It's gone away. Someone's linked it. Someone's robbed me discussion forum link. Um, oh, is it down here? Practice journal entry. Oh, maybe it's here. There it is. Oh, we got to there.
Ah.
There it is.
Yep.
So
Okay.
so there's some activities of practice, so you can have a look at. This is actually assessment one. You can actually
Yep.
have a look at assessment one. So anybody who's interested, can go and check on that. Make sure they're happy with that.
Yep.
There's a good reflective journal for you to
Mhm.
put in your learning as you go,
Yep. Yep.
and then a discussion forum where
Cool.
if you have any problems, you can just click
Yep.
this link, and this is the whether you've
Yep.
got questions, suggestions, problems, we can just chuck it
Yep.
in there.
Oh, fabulous. Okay,
There we
cool.
go. Look, here we go. And Janine has already done that. Let's see what Janine said. So Janine said, sorry, I can't find this. Can I help? Oh dear. Uh, so something's not working. Don't. Let's go back. We'll ignore that.
Yeah.
No, let's have a look. Is this not working? This should be working. This link should be. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
How to make a report. Oh, I've just followed the link. So
Okay.
Janine, go and have a look back there.
Give it another go.
Give it another go. Good, it works. The link works.
Okay.
Good. So we go through this, and actually you've got to go
Yep.
through another link. User reporting.
Mm.
I think is that the one? No, mandatory reporter guide. That one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I've seen that. We went through it. I think the first module, first or second module. Yeah, we did a small portion of mandatory reporting.
There you go. So for you, assessment one will be a walk in the park. That's
Okay.
a PDF viewer.
Yeah.
Home. Oh, welcome to Child Story Reporting. This is it.
Yeah.
I know it's
Yeah.
not the best link because now we go to it. Now we watch that, and
Yeah.
that's still not the link, is it? Final reporting guide, MRG. Where is the MRG? I know it is learn MRG. I got to it myself, but I think you might have to watch that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We haven't got to it, to be honest, so
Okay.
we haven't done the right thing. But if we go through watching this video, here we go. It's here. The funny start the MRG. There it is. Start MRG.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's all very simple. Just click
Okay.
one easy click. Well,
There
9
we
easy
go.
clicks. 9.
Yeah.
If you just find them. So we've gone through the clicks. So they're here on video for everybody. And this is how you do assessment one as well.
Yeah.
So you go through here.
Okay.
What are you going to report? How are you going to
Are
report
you
it? Yeah.
okay?
Guide to, and we go through, it's a decision tree, right? You
Yeah.
report, select that, and
Yeah.
then you're asked to supply answers. Is it
Mhm.
current? Are you aware of a, see, we talk about historical stuff,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
we'll put that in yes, it's current.
Yep.
And was it injury, physical abuse, injury or not accident? Did the
Yeah.
child
Okay.
say it was not an accident? Yes, they said it was not an accident. Significant injury? No, not a significant injury. Let's say it's evidence of ongoing abuse, which is just not reported.
Yeah.
A pattern? Yeah, let's say we were aware of a pattern. Are you aware of excessive discipline? Yes. Is a child under the age of 5? No. Is the young person refusing to afraid to go home? No. Next. See, that happens as well. You
Yeah.
afraid? No, go home. It'll happen
Yeah.
tomorrow. It's very
Yeah.
sad.
Desensitized.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do have other concerns. What are they? We need to write them down. We're aware this is ongoing abuse. Let's go. Ongoing abuse. We're just going to go through this quickly because I'd like everyone to see how easy it is to do assessment 1.
Yeah.
As you concern individual young people, do you say yes, I do. One of our concerns, emotional abuse.
So when you said this is assessment 1, do we obviously go through this and then write a report about it, or?
No, that says, see this? It says generate PDF.
Oh, and then we just upload that.
Yeah, because it says immediate report. It says this is the final decision of the MRG.
Okay.
It says immediately report to the Child Protection Helpline, right? So you
Yeah.
have to do that. If you think a young person is in immediate danger, phone 000 immediately. So
Okay. Yeah.
that's occurring right now. But if it might be occurring tomorrow, we're not going to call 000. But we are going to ring this phone number and start making the report. So some resources to help you is a general practice guide, responding and reporting to risks of abuse and neglect. So some other resources here. And here's a summary of what we would report. And when we press generate PDF, you can download the PDF. And save the PDF, and then you upload the PDF with your assessment.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And
Okay. Cool.
It's that easy. We've just done assessment 1.
Assessment 1. Okay, and that's due week 6.
That's due week 6. We'll go through this again, but we'll go through this with the case studies in assessment 1 because of specific case studies.
Yeah. No worries.
And that's where it is. But I'm glad Janine's done that. I'm just going to say, watch the video. And then Janine will have to watch the video, and that will be how she's supported. But it's good. People have problems, and this is how we help them overcome our problems.
Cool.
What?
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I think we're kind of coming to the end of it now, aren't we?
Yep.
We did. Oh, we skipped that. How did we skip that one before? There you go. Right. We're done. I think we're. Oh, there's some. This is very good. Marianne Berry, child abuse. Watch that. How big is that? Can't remember how big that is. I should write that down, actually. I added some extra stuff. And here's a guide to mandatory reporting, but that comes up later in the course as well. Right. Okay. Done 37 minutes. I'm shutting up. Ali, well done. Do you have any questions?
All right. Thanks, Simon.
We're all good?
Oh, it's all covered. Looks good. Yep.
Well, next time, we'll be back next week. But this time next week, we're going to try and get back a little bit earlier. So we'll be on at
6:30.
6:30, yeah. 6:30 next week. And Sunday, we'll be on at 2:30 this week as well. So we'll go through this again. So if you want to come back, we might have a look at some case studies. If not, we might, I might go through some other people. It'll be pretty much the same kind of thing. You're not obliged to turn up. But when you do, there's one more point I need to make for everybody, for our viewing audience. If we don't get anybody coming to the Zoom assessments, we don't make any videos, and you don't get the inside skinny on Lily Chen and her kids for the assessment. And as they're going to go through, all the assessments are based on this family, you really want to be coming online and getting, because you get to ask questions. 30 minutes it takes. We're going to zip through it. It's not serious. It's not nasty. It's easy. And I'll walk you through everything.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Take care, Ali. See you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.